was shocked that Charlie Kirk is no more. You must be thinking, who is she? Why is she talking about Charlie Kirk? Or maybe you don't know anything about Charlie Kirk, who he was. I'm no one. Yeah, I'm just a mother concerned for her kids, for the young generation in one of the corners of the world, And Charlie Kirk has been a young voice for me, whom I always admired, and I always was so impressed by what he stood for, the truth that he spoke without any hesitation, or unapologetically he spoke about the gospel and the truth that he spoke to the young people in campuses. So it was a shock for me to hear that news. And why I'm sharing this with you, because the audience that I have, I think 3,000 of you, I don't know how many of you will watch this video, but even if there is a one person, if I'm able to introduce you to him, Charlie Kirk, his work, and if you spread it to others, I think it will make it worth his sacrifice, because although he is portrayed as a political activist of America, but he was more than that. And this is seen as a political assassination, political agenda, but that's much, much more than that. Above everything else, he was a Christian man who believed in biblical truth, and he stood for it, and he died for it. He literally, he was killed for his voice, and as he was shot on his throat, so it was like silencing his voice literally. um, I came to know about Charlie Kirk, I think 2 or 3 years back, when first time I saw him in the church, which is in Southern California, the church pastored by Pastor Jack Hibbs. Once in a while, they do this special evening where they talks about the current issues and the things that is happening in the world, and talks through the Bible and from the biblical perspective. So in one of those happening now evenings, he introduced Charlie Kirk, and he talked about New World Government and call shop, and then about the one world government. I was very impressed the way he articulated things. He's so well spoken, Charlie Kirk. And after that, I started following his work, and mostly I will follow him in his debates, because he was a great debater, meaning not only that he was so well educated, or he was well spoken, or he debated in a very rational way, but also because he was such a kind debater. He will go to these colleges where he will sit and he will answer the questions given to him by these young teenagers, some very angry, some very curious, and they will bring the questions about issues like abortion, pro-life, pro-choice, and about gender, and about religion, about Christianity, about apologetics, about being atheist, so many things. And gracefully, he will always answer them. He was always, always very kind. And I personally never met him, but people who personally knew him also will tell you that he was such a kind and a joy-filled person personally. So particularly in the topic of pro-life and pro-choice, pro life debates, I will follow him, and I will listen to his arguments that he will be talking about, and his biblical perspectives. They were like so profound. And then he will talk about the Bible and give biblical truths. He was never hesitant to talk about gospel. He will always end up by introducing Jesus to these young people, and his heart for these young people that really had my attention, because as a mom of three boys, I am very concerned for the next generation, what they are introduced to, what the culture is telling them. So Charlie Kirk was all about fighting against the cultural lies that is put in the young people's mind and their hearts, and how they are brainwashed, He was so adamant, and he was so confident in the things that he believed that Bible talks about especially gender issues. And then he talked boldly about the evil practice of mutilating young kids without the concern of their parents to change their gender. And even the pro-life movement that he was so supportive about, that Bible talks about life, choosing life, and he talked about it so well. And then I maybe basically I liked him because I'm always in search of men who are bold, who are true to the Bible, because I am raising three sons and I want them to have a role model. And Charlie Kirk was one of them, whom I always thought that when my sons grow up, I wanted them to be like him, be bold, be courageous, and be unapologetically true to the Bible, and true to your faith. And he was all of that. So this morning when I heard the news, for a while I was in a shock, devastated. But then again, I remembered, what he fought for, and then that God is sovereign. He's in the throne. He's still the king, and he still rules, and then he still reigns. Charlie's life, he lived it to the fullest. Jesus must have said that, well done, my good and faithful servant. I'm very sure that he has finished his race, and he fought his good fight. But yes, he leaves behind his wife Erica and his two kids, 3-year-old daughter and 1-year-old son. So I want to request you all to kindly uphold them in your prayer. Maybe he has parents and family members who are, I believe they are all believers, so they will, in a way, will be joyous that they will meet him one day for sure in heaven. But it's hard. This is a difficult time. So let us all uphold the family in our prayer. And uh, if you have a young person in your family, if you have young kids, teenagers, if you are a parent, I request you kindly, see his work, listen to his debates, and encourage your children to be like him, because there are very few men and women left in the world, in the Christian domain right now, who are standing on the truth. Many have just forgotten the roots, the biblical foundation, conservative Christianity, where we came from, and they have become so liberal and progressive and woke. And if we want to save our kids, we need to have people like Charlie Kirk more. And I believe that his death will not go in vain, because there is a wave right now in the world going on in social medias. Even people who didn't know him are searching his name, and then maybe seeing his videos, and seeing his debates, and wondering, oh, what a man he was. And he was a godly man. And as Bible says, that the true godly men in the land are my heroes. In Psalms it says, and he was a true hero. And I pray that our young men will follow his path, and then proclaim Jesus boldly like he did. So just want to end here and say, please say a prayer for his family, who is in shock, in grief, and especially for his wife and his children.